Before we jump into this episode, a quick update from the team here at the Foil Project. Desert Winds Downwind Foiling the Ningaloo is available online now at thefoilproject.com. If you enjoy the podcast and want to support the Foil Project, the best possible way you can do this is by renting Desert Winds at thefoilproject.com. The 47-minute documentary takes you on the 300-kilometre journey from Red Bluff to Mildura Wreck, where we get to traverse amazing coastline, see the most beautiful animals, and have the absolute adventure of a lifetime. From the live reactions of over 700 people who got to see the film on the Australian tour, I can promise that you will enjoy it. It feels right to give back to this beautiful place that gave us such an amazing adventure. So 5% of all online sales are going to be donated to the conservation organisation Protect Ningaloo. By raising awareness and taking considered action, I truly hope that we can conserve beautiful places like this around the world for generations to come. So please head to thefoilproject.com, check out Desert Winds, and I hope you enjoy this episode of the Foil Project. Cheers. Future Hugh here again. Sorry we haven't jumped straight into the podcast, but I just wanted to give a little rundown of the context of this podcast and also tell you a little bit how you might want to listen to it, because it's definitely slightly different to some of the other ones we've done before. So I was over in Sydney to do the film screening of Desert Winds. It was happening on the 11th of May, which actually unfortunately turned out to be Mother's Day. And if you have been foiling for a little while, you probably know that at the moment, the demographic of foilers isn't so much mothers. So we struggled to get as many people down on that Sunday. But yeah, it was still an awesome screening, but that's beside the point. What was happening is on Friday afternoon, I'd driven up to the Northern Beaches to drop off the SD card that they needed to be able to do the screening. And then I'd also bumped into Will Sproul, another local foiler there in Sydney. We'd gone out for a surf together. So at this stage, it was about 8 p.m. at night, and I was driving back from the Northern Beaches towards Bondi, which is where I was staying with my auntie. And Perth, turns out, lives just around the corner. So I'd been chatting with him, trying to line up a podcast time. And while I was driving back, he called me up and said, "Do you want to just do the podcast tonight?" And I thought, yeah, we can. Why not? But it's going to start at like 10 p.m. But let's do it. So I ended up just walking around to his place at 10 p.m. at night. I knocked on the front door. He opened it up, handed me an Asahi beer. We walked around the back. He showed me his sauna that he'd been using as recovery for the M2O. Then we sat down on the couch. The NRL was still playing on the screen, and recorded this podcast. So it's probably not the most structured conversation like we'd normally have on the Foil Project, but it is very raw, and there's a lot of cool details that you hear about Perth along the way. So very excited to share it with you. I hope you kind of get to feel like you're sitting with us having this conversation with Perth. I know I found out a lot about him that I had no idea before recording it, particularly about his past as a QS surfer, then competing in the 2016 Cape Fear surfing event, which has become known as probably the most dangerous surf event that has ever been held. And then finally, we also talked a bit about his past. He was a sous chef working with some pretty famous people like Jackie Chan. So he's got some cool stories around all that. Stay tuned to hear it from him himself. If you're interested in jumping to any of these specific sections, please check the timeline below. I've dropped down a couple key points of when we kind of transition conversation. So that's the context of this podcast. Hope you enjoy, and see you in the next one. Cheers. This is the Foil Project podcast. Welcome to the Australian tour. Forecast, win predictions, and
not obviously can't see in 2 months' time, but the forecast changes a lot for Hawaii, and it's interesting to watch what the winds do, especially because the end section of Hawaii Kai from China Walls inwards, it depends the line. It is quite beneficial to take the right line to not have to pump, or depending on the tide, through that end section of the reef, like you could take a totally different line and really gain some serious time. Or like if I swear if it's a low tide and a bigger swell and the right wind, you could be a lot further out to sea than what you think you should be. And there'll be outside bommies that you can link to, which run, and you can get to the end, to get to the windsock on a heaps better line instead of coming in and then going like that, which is the safe option. You could just go, and you could probably cut like a kilometer off your run.
Jeez, sick.
And like, I mean, that's like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like,
2 minutes. Yeah, K is a massive difference.
It's 2 minutes. And down to that end section, it might be 2 minutes 25.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's a big amount of time. I did a bit of research into it, just trying to figure it out, and to the point where I was like searching what the island looked like on Google Maps from out to sea and shit like that, just like trying to figure it out. Like, because I've done it. I did it once before, but I had a dislocated shoulder, and I somehow managed to get 10th, and like I think it was me, Cooey, and like Dave Kassane and like one or two others were the last people to get up. And I was just like, fuck this. I'm just so angry because I dislocated my shoulder 3 days prior to the race. And it's just like, this is ridiculous. I'm just going, and just like didn't come down, pumped the whole way, and was like a mile north or something. Like, because I just went between boats trying to follow them. But it was like, I learned that added so much extra time to my run by just
not getting the right
line.
Not
taking the right line.
Did you track, like, did you have a watch track or anything set up? Like, how did you go
I tried to use some tracking system. Someone set up something in Hawaii to use a tracking system so that you can look down at your watch and see it. But that's probably good for M2O. I did use it in M2O, but I didn't actually look at it.
Yeah, right.
I had mapped it in my head on Google Maps and run through it 30,000 times pre-race.
But do you reckon you're accurate on that? Like, how do you know that the line that you're taking is the line?
I was bang on the line I wanted to take.
Yeah, sick. And that's just because you reckon
The race was on the Friday. I got the opportunity to do the race on the Wednesday, 2 days before.
Yeah.
And I just went, sick, let's go. And it was like proper nuking, like insane conditions.
Yeah.
And I had Adrian had given us a brand new proto that day. And I was like, all right, let's just put it on. Here's my 30 tail. Let's just see how this goes.
Yeah.
And I was like, I hope this is the right spot on the board, and I hope this thing goes good. And it turned out to be really, really good.
Yeah.
And we just jumped in the water and went, and it was nuts. But so I couldn't take the line I wanted to take on that run due to I was with someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And I was with a friend Lisa, and she was on a wing, and she was winging the M2M.
Yeah.
And like I was a fair bit faster. So every couple of Ks I had to like sit down and wait for the boat just so I didn't get too far ahead and lost, and they couldn't find me if something went wrong or whatnot.
Yeah, fair enough.
But it really gave me a lot of time to sit and look at the landmarks.
Okay.
And I feel like it was almost more beneficial to just sit there and look at the landmarks and chill out and like I did Ks where I'd just be going left and right as long as I possibly could go left and right.
Yeah, sick. So what landmarks were you looking for? That's, I guess,
well,
like if I didn't
obviously looking for the harbour.
Yeah.
But I was just trying to take in as much knowledge as I could on the pre-run. And then when I was doing the other run, I looked at the currents and the wind was meant to be super light. And so I was like, so further out is probably going to be better. Because at least there might be swell wrapping around the island. There might be wind bumps from the residual swell from the night before, day before, wrapping around the island that morning. Even though it was like sheer glass when we rocked up. It was just like, oh my God, this is so heavy.
Yeah, because that day that you rocked up to the race, right, it was super light. Is that?
But it ended up being like 15 plus knots. Like it was actually pretty good.
Yeah, sick.
But the end section, like you're pumping for a couple of Ks in like a bay run, like a terrible bay run.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, it's not easy. Like
Yeah.
and the guys that won, they did 3Ks less than me.
Yeah, right. Like you were comparing the watch tracks and everything.
Yeah. So I looked at the distance that they did, and it was like 3Ks less than me, and I was like, wow, that's wild.
3K, like if you said you were 10 minutes behind them, right?
No, that was M2O.
Oh, that was M2O. This is M2M.
M2M.
Yeah.
I was actually don't know what it was, but it was like 4 minutes over 3 or 4 Ks, I think it was.
Yeah.
So it was like the line I took might have actually been faster, but because it was so much longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you reckon, like, do you think the straightest line is always the fastest line?
Well, not necessarily, because I took the line that I'm pretty sure Kane did the line that I took the year before.
Mm.
And so that's why I took that line. And I was like, well, it's going to be shit or win. It's going to be terrible. Kane's done this before 1,000 times, probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's pretty good in the ocean. So I was like, best case
if
scenario.
Anyone's going to have done it 1,000 times.
I was listening to James Casey talk to maybe Kai, and they did it, and they went way too close in, and they actually lost.
Yeah.
And I think Kane won, or those guys won just because they stayed wide.
Mm.
Because in close, it's like, you're doing a bay run on like a 650, 700 square centimeter wing.
So when you're talking about in close, this is like once you round the island.
Yeah, you start up here somewhere, and so direct line is like that. But I went like full wrap around like that. Like I'll pull the thing up on my phone.
Yeah.
And I'll show you that.
That
right
there. Yeah. That's the end point there.
Yeah.
So you're saying if you're tucking in really close to this reef.
Well, then you got to cut back out.
Yeah.
So you're doing essentially a bay run from the point. It's essentially a bay run from there to there, which is still like, I don't know. See if you can click it and check the distance. Do the measure thing.
Like 20 Ks at least.
Yeah. Like it's a bay run in pretty average conditions.
Yeah.
And so if you're out, I was out here.
Yeah, shit. You're like almost in the middle of the channel.
Yeah.
You're basically traveling
I'm 2/3 of the channel over towards Molokai.
Yeah.
And so like it was a straight downwind, and then slowly started to cut. I just literally followed the island and then tapered in.
Yeah.
So that, because I figured if I got to the corner of the island, I'm out in the middle of nowhere, I could just keep cutting on a 45 all the way to the finish line. Do you know when you're downwinding, you cut on a 40, it's super fast to go 45, and then
particularly
you might
if it's
do
like
a little one, that
stuff.
one, and across. That one across. And I just thought, if I'm sitting on that angle for like 20 Ks, that's going to be crazy fast and minimal effort, because it's an upwind pump, and the last 3 Ks are probably offshore.
Yeah.
Or like terrible conditions. So that's why I took that line as well, because I was like, my head, I was like,
what size foil were you using for that race?
I had a 690 centimeter.
690. And then the final stretch of it, you were pumping fine, like through that whole thing, or was it an absolute grind to make it to the end?
Well, heart rate's going outrageously. I was like, you come down, you're done. And I had Oscar right next to me, and a couple other crew right near me.
Sick.
Nicapule was, I think I went past him maybe, or he was like a kilometer inside me, because you can see the support boats.
Yeah.
And there's the odd support boat, and I knew Nick had one, or one of those guys had one. So I was like, shit, that's the boys, but I'm on a better line. They're going to be zigzagging trying to stay with it. And I know they're on like the 110s, and I know my foil probably glides a little bit better, but I've got a heaps easier line. So I'm going to be conserving energy.
Yes.
And then coming into the finish, I was like, Oscar just blasted past me, and I was like, fuck, this guy now. I don't have the strength to like pump with him, but I was like, I'm pretty sure he's on like an Armstrong wing that's going to be, all Armstrong wings that I've ever ridden have been a little bit harder to pump than what I knew I was on. And I was like, I know my wing might be a little bit slower, but I know I've got so much more glide.
Yeah.
And so Oscar just came down when we came around the corner of the thing and of the buoy, and I pumped all the way to the finish line.
Yeah.
And I went past a bunch of crew on that last stretch. I think Nick Apule and there was someone else who ended up being just in front of me when we came round it, or they might have even been ahead of me, or I don't know. But I think I went past 3 people that were laying down paddling.
Yeah.
And then I just pumped all the way to the finish, and I was like stoked.
Stoked. So what place did you come in that end-to-end race?
I think I got 10th.
10th. Okay. Sick.
Or
and then the M2O was 10th as well? Or
I got 11th in the
11th.
M2O.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the goal for this year?
Just to beat James Casey, really.
Not number 1? What do you reckon?
Well,
like, is that in your sights?
I don't even know if that's achievable. I'm a carpenter. I'm working every day.
Yeah.
Like the guys that are winning, I'm 35 this year. I'll be 35 when we do the M2O.
Yeah.
Do all those races. Like the stamina that I used to have as opposed to what I have, like your body changes. You get older, your body just changes. Like you just shit.
Yeah.
You're just not as good.
Yeah, right.
You just, I don't know. Like your max heart rate range changes. Your average heart rate, like my heart rate used to go to like 220. Now it goes to 180.
Yeah, right.
Like
yeah, see, I can still
5 years ago,
push.
I'm 220.
Yeah.
Now my max heart rate, the most I try, the hardest I go, I cannot get above 182.
Right.
And it's like,
see, I can pretty easily like get my heart rate to 200. Like
I can't get there.
Yeah.
Like mine just doesn't go there.
Yeah.
And
interesting.
Like, I'm
and then that's
sitting on my bike doing 2 hours on my bike simulating an M2O race.
Yeah.
And I cannot sit, like my heart rate was 163, average heart rate was 163 for 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I struggle to sit at 163 for 15, 20 minutes on the bike.
Right.
But when I'm foiling, I can sit at that for an hour and a half.
Is that, do you reckon, is that a mindset thing? Like surely that's like
it's a having fun and I want to be here and doing it.
Yeah, as opposed to sitting on the bike.
I hate sitting on the bike. This is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I'm sweating dicks, fucking dripping in sweat. This is hard. This is really difficult.
Yeah.
As opposed to like,
this is what I've been training for. Yeah.
Just I'm doing the hell down with the man, just sitting on swells, just losing it. Like,
the best time 100%. Ever. For sure.
So it's like,
that makes sense.
It's a full,
but the training's worth it. Hey, like you're saying that you don't get an opportunity to do like a 2-hour session downwind really here. I know you did that crazy 80-kilometer downwind the other day that Kui made a video about. Was that like kind of, were you thinking about training like when you did those big runs?
Well, that was an opportunity I got. So the week before,
yeah,
we managed to do Nora Head to Narrabeen.
Yeah.
And it's a cut. Like it's not straight at all.
Yeah.
Like it's a full cut. Like because we get, the best we get is a northeast here. And we get northeast. So if you zoom in there, probably about around here.
Yeah.
See that point there? That's Nora Head.
Nora Head, yeah.
Yeah. So if you zoom out and go to Maruba, which is further down, which is down here.
So that's 80K straight line.
Yeah. So I added 2.5 Ks to it because that's 80.66. Yeah. So I was just over 3.
You're a long way out here.
Oh, man, like Palm Beach isn't a beach. It's an island. So North Palm Beach headland is an island, and so is Whale Beach.
Yeah.
Like you can't see the land. It's got like, because of the weird haze of the water and stuff, it's like two island things. There's like these weird island things sitting there.
Yeah.
And you're going past the shipping tankers. There's ships waiting and going to Newcastle and sitting out there. You're like, what the fuck? This is so heavy.
Yeah. Oh, that's mental. That would have been and you're out there by yourself?
Yeah. Well,
yeah. And just bombing it the whole way.
Average pace for the whole thing was 2:07.
Yeah. That's a friggin' fast average pace for 84 kilometers.
And
yeah,
I came down 5 times.
Yeah.
I had like a 2-minute rest, minute and a half rest outside the heads. I had like a full breakdown outside the heads of Sydney Harbour because I came in too close because the wind went northeast or something, and the swell was quite like east northeast or northeast.
Yeah.
So I was riding swells, but having to cut out to sea and pump over 2 swells onto the next one, pump over 2 swells onto the next one. And it's like, it wasn't just a downwinder. So if you look at my line here compared to that line, like I come in here and then have to go back out a fair bit.
Yeah.
And so I was just having too much fun through that bit and too much fun through here, and then had to go back out. And it was just like, it was so difficult. And because I phoned Kui and he's like, oh, I'll join you. I was like, sweet. I'll let you know when I get there. And I had all these conversations, and it's like the amount of air you don't get when you're on the phone, when you're doing downwinder, to just breathing normally is like
unbelievable. Yeah, it makes it way harder.
And I was just like, I got to the heads and I couldn't pump anymore, and I just fell off my board and just climbed. I couldn't even get back on my board. I was laid on my board, just like, and I was like, oh my God, what have I done? What have I done? This is the worst thing ever. And I was like, hang on, you're 20 k's from home. You're on the last stretch. You got this. Stop being such a bitch. Like, get on your board and go. Like, what's wrong with you?
What did you take with you? So you had like
what this is the big stitch.
you had water, like you had gels. What was in your pack?
No, I've got this stuff called Perpetuum Hammer 2.0 from Hawaii.
Yeah.
And it's like carbs in water. Mm-hmm. And I usually freeze all my liquids, and I'll go, say I've got M2O. I base everything off just M2O because it's hot.
Yeah.
And so I don't usually need that. For 50 Ks, I'll go through like 400 ml of water.
Yeah.
Like I don't need much. And that's off. So I do these little tests on myself. This is a little side subject. I do these little tests on myself, and I go, all right, I'm going to do Maruba to Palm Beach. I'm going to do a hungover and I'm not going to have breakfast.
Yeah.
And we're not going to eat from the night before, be hungover. And I'm going to do it at like 11 to 12 o'clock. So I'm not going to be able to eat basically I'm going to do it fasting, hungover with minimal water, no hydrolytes, and just see if I can get a cramp, because I've never had a cramp before.
Yeah, right.
So I don't get cramps. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to see what the worst situation, and I'm just going to see how much slower my time is.
Yeah.
Because when you're foiling, I just zone out, and it's like I forget everything exists, and it's like, yeah, I'm a little bit slower with the hangover, but I'm only like 2-second pace different. Like I'm not really any different. It's because it's like your body switches off. You go into a flow state of just doing instead of thinking about different things or lines. You're just doing. You're not
worrying about.
Because that's the reason I got onto this is because of the heart rate. Because I can't mimic the heart rate for that long.
Yeah.
But I can, when I do it doing downwind, my heart rate's at an unachievable rate for an unachievable amount of time. I can't replicate it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I wonder what I can, how bad can I physically be and still
hit that heart rate?
Perform at a really good thing. And when does it stop? And how much extra do I get for doing all this prep and all these changes and eating correctly and eating the right stuff prior and stretching and whatnot and getting in the right mental frame and physical frame state to do the run.
Yeah.
What difference does it actually make for me? Because it's great for. I was thinking about being like nervous for the M2O and whatnot, and then getting to Molokai, not eating properly because there wasn't anything I like to eat, and just having to eat rice or like just random shit that I didn't want to eat, and not having the right nutrition, and just if I was basing my whole race on needing the right nutrition and needing the right mental state and things like that, then if I didn't get the right situations and didn't have the right sleep and didn't have the right bed and whatnot, how much is that going to put me off? And how much is that going to fuck with my mental state? And how like rattled am I going to be? And how, so I was like, how bad,
and I feel like,
how bad can I make this and still be all right?
Yeah.
And so that shit doesn't matter. So anything can go wrong. I might not sleep all night. And like, cause there's, I don't know, some dog barking outside my room, and like, you don't know. You just don't know what's going to happen. So how bad can it be for me to not still be able to perform really well?
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm obviously not going to be drinking for like, so that's got to be the worst. Like,
that's worse than
that's what I thought. I was like, how can I test this theory?
What's your results now that you've done it? So obviously you say it's not as good, but significantly worse. Would you be happy to do the race like that, or?
Fuck no. But I'm not going to be hungover on 4 hours sleep and tired as shit.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to be tired, but I'm not going to be 4 hours sleep and hungover and had a mate's 30th the night before or something. Like,
yeah, for sure.
So, and even with that sense, I'm still only 2 to 3 seconds a kilometer slower anyway.
Yeah.
Which obviously is a fair bit. It's like 3 minutes, but you're never going to be feeling that bad.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
that was my theory on it. Like, if I have a big late lunch at work, or like a 4 o'clock dinner, not eat till 12, 1 o'clock the next day, drink 10 beers, go do it. But
you got all the carbs from the beers, right?
Maybe. There's nothing worse
than
to
hungover.
A physical trying to put effort in when you're hungover.
Yeah.
Like, that is the worst.
Yeah.
But it still wasn't that much, because you still switch off and you're like, I'm just going to do. I'm not, I don't know. I just forget that I'm where I am and what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
For sure.
I spent a hell of a lot of money when I was younger, as a pro surfer, on some mental coaching.
Yeah.
I think it was like 10 grand or something for this course. And it taught you how to switch off and go into the flow state, just like with keywords as trigger words to go into that element of non-thinking and just doing.
Yeah.
And so that you could just, like, I had trigger words written on my board for backside bottom turn and Rio and whatnot, so that it would trigger you into like it's like you need an 8.5 or something. And I knew that if I just paddled in a wave and looked at that and said it in my head, that it would set me up to do that.
Perfect.
I was like, this is 8.5 all day. If I get a wave, I can do 2 to 3 turns. I'm getting an 8.5.
Yeah.
But this is the same thing with foiling. Like,
well, it's even more measurable, because you got an exact thing, the time that you're doing, right? It's probably easier than surfing in some ways. And do you find is it easier to enter the flow state foiling than it is surfing? Like,
yeah, because it's more fun. There's no one around talking to you. No one having to go at you. You're not having to paddle for a wave. You're not having to compete with anyone.
Yeah.
To catch a wave, you're just going, and there's like an object in front of you. Like, oh, I've got to catch that. I've got to catch that. Or I've got to stay ahead of that.
Yeah.
Like, you.
Well, from there, I reckon we got to dive into pro surfing. What got you into that? Like, can you surfing? Like, where did you grow up around here? Did you learn to surf here? And like, what was your pathway to becoming a pro surfer, or that stage of your life?
Surfing was like, mum and dad were full fitness people.
Yeah.
Dad was like, I think he got asked to ride for the Tour de France for France.
Damn.
Years ago. He was a professional cyclist, triathlete, runner, all that stuff. Mum also did triathlons and was a really good athlete at that sort of stuff. I think we were in Byron one year for Christmas or something like that. Me and Dad were at the pass just going for a swim, and I was like, oh, Dad goes, tells the story, and I'm like, he goes, oh, what? I was like, what's that? And Dad's like, oh, that's surfing. And I was like, oh, I want to do that. And he's like, all right, well, let's go find a board. So we went to town, went to a surf shop and
sick,
found a board, and and it was like 5'2" by 16 and a quarter or something.
Oh, tiny.
By like 1 7/8. And
Yeah,
it was an old town and country, and it had foam fins that were glass. It was foam inside the fin, but it was glass clear.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
And it was like $350, and it was that was like the whole food budget for the week holiday, and Dad just spent it all and got home, and the argument between Mum and Dad. And he's like, yeah, but he's got a surfboard and wants to do this. And Mum's just losing it.
Oh, no.
Because like, we didn't have much money when I was growing up. And it was like to even just go on a holiday was pretty sick. But then like...
And then you got a surfboard for the holiday too. So you were frothing.
And Dad was like, yeah, you just went out and you're just like, I hardly even have to put you in the waves at all. You just got it. You're just able to surf. And then you could just kind of do it. And then stop doing it and then go back into it because my friends group were doing it.
What was the kicker that kind of made you realize that you were really good at surfing? You wanted to pursue it as opposed to just being the average surfer.
Started getting paid in year 9.
In year 9?
And was doing like contests and whatnot and winning contests and doing consistently placing well in contests.
Yeah.
And so it was like, all right, do I keep going to this sort of private school or do I go to public school and whatnot? And then year 10 I started getting paid properly.
Sick.
And
is he getting paid by like brands, like by like Rusty or like that kind of thing, or who?
Yeah, I had like 8 or 9 sponsors back then.
Yeah, wow.
It was like XL, Fox, Electric, DVS.
Were any other of your mates or like kids your age had that sort of sponsorship and that?
Oh yeah, people were getting paid way more than me. Yeah, the reason I got paid was because other people were getting paid who I beat, and so that was my leveraging point of getting paid something was because the people I was beating somewhat consistently were getting paid well.
Yeah, and
so I was able to leverage that to these guys are on this. I know what these guys are on, so I feel like I should be on something similar.
So how long did you do that for?
Till like 25.
Yeah, sweet.
I'm gonna say like paid properly till 25, and then towards the end of my career, I got so many injuries, and I was just like, I spent 3-4 months a year just sitting at home in a cast and in knee brace or moonboot or something, and I was just like, this sucks. Like I'm not making enough to get ahead, and it's not enjoyable because I'm injured. I'm chasing my tail. As soon as I'm back surfing, I'm chasing my tail to try and requalify for the bigger events, and I was just over it. And I was like, and then I stopped getting paid, but like my contract finished with Oakley, and I stopped getting paid, so I just had to, like 2 days later, I had no money.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, am I getting another contract? And then it was just like over. I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
I don't have like a heap of money coming into my account in a few days. I was like, oh, God. I was like, Mum, do you have a bed at yours? Can I come stay at home? And I was like, packed up my house in Byron, and I drove down the coast. And as I was driving down, I was like 150th reserve for the Red Bull Cape Fear event. And Marky calls me and goes, Perth, bruh, you're fucking in. You're in. Like, that many people pulled out. I'm like, fuck yeah. I was like, how much do I get paid for showing up? He's like, you get $5,000 for just showing up. I was like, yes. I don't care how big it is. I'm going in. I'm like, I need the money.
Yeah. Wait. So you've lost your brand deals. You're driving back home to Sydney, I'm assuming, and then they called on the Cape Fear that day.
Well, I had 3 days to get to Sydney.
Yeah, shit. And they've called it on.
Yeah, and then there was actually a little minor event in Sydney the 2 days before or the day before, and it was like 15, 20 foot. Like, it was so big. And we were just surfing on some dumb reform. And I think I won like 700. I was like, it was $50 to enter or something. I won 800 or $700. I was like, that's for the next couple of weeks. Mad, let's go.
Yeah, like, sick.
And then we go on to stay at like the Marriott or something in San Souci or wherever it was.
Yeah.
And And then I was like, oh, I'm going to get $5,000 for 2 days work. This is mad. And then like we got there in the morning. I was like, oh my God, what have I done? What have I done?
Was the Cape Fear waves just free?
Oh,
Dude, like, was that something you'd surfed before, like that event?
I've been surfing hours my whole life.
Yeah. Is that like a spot that people get sponsored? Like you get deals and stuff from because you get photos of that wave?
I figured I used to get, say $2,000 for a double page spread off a heap of different sponsors.
Yeah.
And
that's the spot you get
So there's no other 16-year-old kid surfing hours. So anytime it was decent and big, I'd go out and get a photo, and I'd get a double page in a Tracks mag, Waves or Surfing Life, something as like a Transworld Surf or Surf World, like what, like if I took on, like if I got 6 waves, I'd probably get 2 double pages out of my 2 waves.
Yeah, and, right. Because you always there's going to be photographers in the water.
8 times $2,000 or 8. Like $2,000 is probably the most, and then the rest of them, like half of them might be 1,000, and then it's like you'd make like 12, 15 grand off 2 double pages. Just like I'll fall off, but I'm only catching 6 waves. I'm gonna get smashed, but yeah, I'm gonna make 15 grand for catching a wave. It's like slam me into the reef. Let's go. Like, yeah. I'm paying my rent. I'm paying mum's rent. Like.
Yeah, sick.
Paying the food bills for 2-3 months. Like,
was that so? Your main motivation was like often to get paid. Like you're going out of hours to get paid.
Paid, and because I was from Bondi, so everyone just wrote me off because I was from Bondi. Because Bondi is trendy and whatnot.
How'd the Cape Fear event go?
Like ridiculously big, and Justin Allport, Jughead, scalped himself the heat before I was meant to paddle out. I was in my wetsuit about to paddle out, and it was so big and so shallow and dry, and just like I was just going, please call this off, like this is so dangerous, like I don't want to be out here at all.
And it's a towing event?
Yeah, well it was that day. You couldn't even get close to paddling.
No.
Like, not even, you couldn't even, there's no way anyone could even get close to paddling a wave out there. Like, it was stupid.
Very few people in the world who've experienced a wave like that. Like, what does it feel like? Like, are you like the entire time like absolutely shitting bricks, or like do you feel like you go into that flow state you're talking about?
For surfing out here, I used to eat like 8 Voltaren pluses,
right,
and a couple of Panadol, because the whiplash was so bad when you got flogged.
Yeah,
that it was the easiest way to counteract the whiplash, so that your body was relaxed when you did it.
Yeah, and
you didn't end up hurt.
This is me just asking questions I bet everyone wants to ask, but do you feel like you were flaunting with death a lot of these, like the times you were doing this stuff, like looking back on it now? Like
it was so enjoyable.
Yeah,
like it's so much fun. Like you just do it. Like you go out there and it's like, oh, there's a bigger option. Let's go.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's just my mindset, man.
Yeah.
Just like I want to get a bigger wave than everyone else, or I want to just beat everyone else. I don't know. It's just like that. It's that headspace where maybe it's my competitive edge of shit. I don't know. I'm just like, I want to do better. Yeah. We got halfway through that first Cape Fear event where you saw the guy before your event got scalped on the rocks. Yeah. And then it was your heat. Yeah. Well, the next day I was first heat. We got on the bus, went to the comp site, paddled out pre-surf, like before the comp started. I paddled out like 6:30 in the morning. Got a couple of crazy paddle ones. Like, I was just going, it was me and Laurie out there, and we were just getting the biggest tubes. Just no one wanted to surf. We're just like, sweet as, let's fucking go. Like, out there, just getting in. I didn't even get towed into it. Like, you could paddle. Like, it was some of the biggest I've ever surfed it, and still paddleable. And it was just like, what? Yeah. Like, mind blowing. But that half an hour session, how many waves? Like, is it a couple waves? And that's like 6 waves. Yeah.
I mean, 6 of those waves in half an hour.
So quite often you sit there and you won't get away for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was such a good direction and such a just, maybe the adrenaline, I don't know. I just kept going and just got so many waves.
And I assume if you're getting 6, you haven't got smoked on a single one. No. Like you've made every single one.
Your hair may as well be. The only reason your hair's wet is because it's spat so hard you wet.
That's epic.
And then heat started. Didn't make a single wave in my heat. Got completely flogged on it. The one I just sent you is the only one I got that I came close to making.
Yeah, right.
And just got hammered.
Yeah.
Like maybe it was like towed too deep or just wanting to try and get too big of a score or.
Yeah.
I think my total was like 4 points. It was so far. It was so shit. I was just like, oh my God, I like live and die by this wave. And I just got a total of fuck all.
Because you went out and had that paddle session. Are people recognizing that or not? You know what I mean? Like, was just literally whatever happens, the event is what matters.
Nah, actually, I got a few waves. Tim Nathan has been reposting for the last 10 years nearly of waves that from the paddle.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Nothing. It's all history. It doesn't really matter. There's some kid. There's someone else can do something crazier every new swell.
Yeah.
It's just, it is what it is, and it's cool to have those memories. But I don't know. Like Max McGuigan recently just did something that was so outlandish, so outrageous. It was just like, mate, that is, and he's on his backhand, and no backhander out. There's Kirk Flintoff is the only backhander out there, I'm pretty sure. Besides Jai Aberdeen, but Jai doesn't surf that much. Kirk's always out there, and he just sends it, and then Max McGuigan has just gone a whole new level of like, yeah, he got the craziest wave out of anyone. So
that's your like surfing background. Did that bring you into foiling, or was it something else? Like what?
No. I after surfing, I like obviously I said I needed a job, I needed money. I grew up. My next door neighbors are all chefs.
Yeah.
And I needed money stat. And when I was from 12 to 18 or something, my next door neighbors cooked for me and with me and taught me how to cook. And they were like all chefs. And mum was a vegan.
Yeah.
And so they all ate meat. So I'd go to their house to eat meat, and they'd teach me how to cook, basically.
Yes. Yeah,
and I'd have like two nights a week. I'd eat with neighbors and cook with them, and they would be doing TV shows and movies and just restaurants or whatever. And so I needed a job. Messaged one of them. I was like, "Oh, can I have a job?" And he was like, "Yeah, bro, fucking oath. You're my new fucking sous chef." And I was like, "Sweet." I was like, "When do I start?" He goes, "Tomorrow." It's like 10 o'clock at night. And he's like, "Tomorrow." And I was like, "Cool, what time?" He goes, "I'll pick you up at 2:50 in the morning." I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, you start at 3 o'clock in the morning." I was like, "Okay, I need money."
Yeah.
I hadn't even asked how much it was an hour. And it was $20 an hour before tax. And I was like, I didn't ask for like weeks. And I was like, oh my God, this is so...
That would be pretty heavy once you're going from one magazine to shots paying you 12 grand to getting paid $20 an hour.
No. After, like, that's before tax. So it's like,
yeah,
it's fuck all.
Yeah.
And starting at 3 in the morning. And then some nights you finish at 9:30 at night. There was 2 nights a week I'd finish at 9:30 at night. 2 nights a week I'd finish at 4:30, and 2 days I'd finish at 2:30. And it was like the craziest hours. And you're just like, oh, it's horrible. I worked with like Delta Goodrum and Jackie Chan and Boy George and all sorts of...
Wait, what? Videos. So do you meet all those people? Or like you just work?
Like, I used to give Jackie Chan his breakfast, lunch, afternoon tea for 3 months.
Surely do you have some stories about that, or they're not actually as interesting as
Jackie Chan's the best.
Yeah. What did he do?
He was like the nicest human ever. So like every week or every 2 weeks, he would take the entire cast out to like a like crab restaurant, lobster restaurant in Chinatown or like in the city somewhere, and shout everyone dinner.
Right.
Like a couple hundred people dinner, book out the whole restaurant, like nuts. And then he go, right, everyone chuck in like $5 to $15 in the hat, blah blah, pass it around, and it ended up at like say 15 grand or something.
Yeah.
And he go, right, oh, there's 15 grand here. So he goes, oh, I'll just chuck in 15 grand as well then, eh? And just chuck it in, and he goes, right, so what do you guys want to do? Like one to 3? Do you want to just do 1 to 5? Like fifth place gets this, so there's like 30 grand in the kitty. And he's like, right, you all draw fucking numbers. You want to fifth place gets this, blah blah, or you want to just go first place gets 30? What do you want to do? Like, what do you guys want? Yeah. And you do it every week or every 2 weeks. It's insane. And then like going into the rap party, like I'm in the rap party, and I was like, walk up to him, and I'm like, hey, can I get a photo with you, Jackie? Like, and he's like bouncer security guy. I was like, fuck off, go away. And he's like, hey, no, this is Perth. He cooked for me. Like, I'm gonna blah blah. And he had like 12 chicks around him, like fucking 10s. And he's like, gave him a phone to this chick, and he's like, all right, take a photo. And he's like, nah, that one's shit. Take another one. And I was just standing there going, yeah, mate. And then he just gave me $2 grand out of his pocket just in cash. I was like, oh, yeah, dude. Thank you. What? He goes, thank you for just being so cooperative for what I wanted. I was like, dude, you didn't want anything. Yeah. He goes, oh, yeah, but you were good, so thanks. I was like, you mad?
That's epic. That's sick. How about the other ones? Like, is Jackie? So Jackie was an absolute legend. Is everyone?
Boy George and Seal were legends. Delta was a fuckwit.
Yeah,
I don't know if I should say this on the podcast, but
yeah, who knows? I don't think that the Foil Project podcast is reaching. Yeah.
One night, I dropped off her food to Boy George and Seal and her, and she's like, "Oh yeah, cool, thank you." And it's like when the voice was on.
Yeah.
And I came back. I'll clean the whole container because we used to work out of these container kitchens.
Yeah.
And it was like a shipping container.
Yeah.
And it's like 9:30 at night, and her assistant comes up and goes, "Hey, Delta wants some carrot sticks and celery sticks and hummus." I'm like, "Yeah," and it's 9:30 at night, and I've cleaned the whole kitchen. Get fucked. She goes, "I'm gonna get your boss to fire you if you don't do this." And I was like, "Well, how about you eat a dick?" And she's like, "No, I'm serious." I was like, "Oh, you can't do that." I was like, "It's like against the law." She goes, "Look, just make it. You get paid by the hour." I was like, "Yeah, not very much." I don't want to do this. She's like, "You have to do it." She's like, "My job depends on it too." I was like, "What do you mean your job depends?" And it was just like, I was like, "All right, sweet. I'm going to make this shit." All right, cool. And so like extra 2 hours go by. Like I've dropped it off. I've re-cleaned the whole kitchen, blah, blah. And I leave work at 11 o'clock at night. I've dropped the celery sticks off and the hummus off, and like I have to make the hummus from scratch and everything. Yeah. Because like you don't just store tubs of hummus in a fucking kitchen. Like it's not a thing that you do. You're going off a recipe, on recipes every day, so it's not a thing that I was just lucky that I had the right shit in the kitchen to make it.
Yeah. So you've made hummus. This is home. This is like nice hummus.
Well, it's fresh. Hummus is basic as fuck. It's like tahini, some fucking chickpeas, some garlic, some lemon, a bit of olive oil.
Yeah.
It's it's mellow, but it's annoying to have to re-clean everything, and then I don't have enough stock for the next day's recipes and stuff. So I've got to like somehow source shit by the afternoon to fill that gap, to like bridge the little moment of where this recipe, where like I don't know where it's going to come in, because you're doing thousands of people a day.
Yeah.
You do like, anyway, so I'm back at work. I leave work at 11 o'clock at night. I'm back at work at 2:50 in the morning, and I'm cleaning. I go to Delta's like shed thing, like her trailer, and I go to clean her food plates. she hasn't even touched the fucking hummus and carrot sticks and celery sticks. And I'm just
Oh my God, that'd be so annoying.
bitch. I want to kill you. Like, I am so tired. I've had an hour and a half of sleep and I've got to do another like 18-hour day today. And I've had an hour and a half sleep. Are you serious? Like, you just made me do that.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Far out.
Just like ropeable. So angry.
All right. So, but now you're a carpenter. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So how do we go from sous chef to carpenter?
I was like a young, whatever, and partying like Friday, Saturday night, but my day off was a Tuesday.
Yeah.
And so like I'd be Friday night I'd go out, Saturday night go out, Sunday night go out, because Bondi's just like
always something happening.
Always something sick happening, especially when I was younger and it was full of chicks. And like it's worth going out. Like, you can have a good time. And so I was talking to a guy and he's like, oh, blah, blah, like doing this, and we just became friends. And he's like, oh, do you want a job? And I was like, sure, I'll come do a couple of days, because I was doing like 4 days a week of cooking, so I'd do 1 day a week with him every now and then. And I was like, this is just thinking about, I'm not being a carpenter. This is fucking this is worse than cooking.
Why?
Fuck this.
What's
But I was like a shit kicker labourer. So
yeah. Labouring sucks.
And I ended up like doing the worst of it. I was like polishing a floor, like 11 units in Manly. I polished all the floors with like a 9-inch grinder sort of thing, like terrible.
Yeah.
And then I was like having a whinge to him like years later, and I was like, oh, I'm running the whole kitchen, I'm getting paid this is shit, blah, blah. And he's like, come work for me. I was like, not a chance, dude. Yours is worse than what I'm doing. And he goes, dude, you'll never do that again. You'll never have to do it again. And I was like, all right, what are you going to pay me? He's like, oh, I'll pay you like 28, 29 for your first year after tax. And I was like, what? I was like getting $24 before tax at the time, I think. And I was like, so I'm getting like a $9 pay rise an hour. I was like, yeah, I'm coming. See you soon.
Yeah, sick.
And I ended up having to do another 3 months of cooking at the restaurant I was in. But yeah, started doing that. And then I was like, what? So if you are more like intrigued and take more responsibility and go out of your way to do shit more and try harder and learn the plans and take more responsibility when you don't have to, you get paid more. I was like, so just reading shit and just figuring stuff out that's like a puzzle,
yeah,
you get paid more. I was like, all right, sweet. And your salary just goes up as a carpenter. Like, if you're just responsible, it's like.
So do you work for yourself now? Or what?
No. I have been working myself for the last couple of months, but I'm going to work for a builder now.
Yeah.
Which will be nice.
Yeah, sick.
So it's a standard. It's just a good wage that I can pay for Molokai and everything, probably.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Wicked. And it do you like enjoy doing carpentry now? Is it something you've grown to like more? Or
I mean,
if you had the choice between cooking or carpentry, which would you do?
It wouldn't even be slightly cooking. But
yeah, okay. Yeah.
Like I get paid 3 times my wage, 3 times my cooking wage as a carpenter.
Yeah.
If not nearly 4 times.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, it's a piss take how bad cooks
you get paid as a cook. Yeah. I feel like we'd be missing out something now to not talk just a bit about like the brands that you worked with in foiling, or like how you ended up picking up foiling, and then what's kind of gone from there. When did you start?
Man, I started back in 2020. Started 2020. In a Hawaii season in 2019.
Yeah.
One of the kids from around here, Grayson Henriches, brought a foil home from Hawaii, and he was like, because I used to beat him in everything.
Yeah.
And like he was I'm 20. I'm 25 at top of my competitive game. Like, I know so much about a heat and strategy and mind games and being able to fuck with him. And he's like 16, 17, 18, that thing. So I was just like, even if I'm like in the worst physical state, I know I can mind game you into a shit wave. And I know I can surf a 9-point wave into a 6 or a 7. And I know, because it's Bondi, that I can put you into like 4s.
Yeah.
And I know I'm going to win simply just because of the tricks I can play on you.
Yeah.
And it's like, he brought this thing back and he's like, I'm going to be better than you, bitch, because I can already do this. And I was like, no, you're not. You need to go outside of Bondi to be able to go foiling. How are you going to get there? And he's like, you're going to drive me. I was like, well, you're going to teach me how to do this and I'm going to be better than you. And he's like, no, you're not. I'm going to do it. He goes, trust me. There's no way. I can already get up and foil. Like, in his head, he's like, I can already get up and foil.
Yeah.
There's no way you're going to be better than me.
Yeah.
And so, like, I drive into, like, Long Reef and whatnot. My first session, don't get up on foil. Couldn't even stand on the thing. I was just like, oh, my God, this thing's fucked. What am I going to get? And, like, Kyle Lenny was riding MFC. So I was like, sweet. I was like, buy a new car or buy a car.
Yeah.
Or buy an MFC setup. So I got a 1080 and a 1250 and a something bigger, 14s.
Yeah.
Maybe
so you didn't just buy a foil, you bought 3 setups at the
I
same
bought
time.
three front wings and 2 tails or 1 tail and a mast.
Yeah.
And then I was lucky I was sort of semi-sponsored by JS back in the day.
And you got one of JS boards.
And I knew Ben as well. And he's like, Jason's got a couple of Prone boards that he can't sell.
Yeah.
Because they've got like a weird bit of like dust in the glass or something, like perfectly good, perfectly normal board. So I got a brand new JS for like $350 or $450 or something delivered to my house. I was like, we're on here.
We're on.
Just
Sick.
spent like $5,000 on fucking foils. just so I could
having
be better
not done
than
it
this
yet.
kid.
Yeah.
But then I also bought a fucking a boat. A boat so I could turn myself in and learn to do it.
Yeah.
I was that committed. Look at this boat I bought. It was spin out. That thing was sick. I just remade the windscreen, put like a grip on it so you could just drive holding up and just go. But we'd be doing like 80, 90 Ks an hour in the harbour, like just across those. The thing was psycho. Well, it's a 300 kilo boat with a 70 horsepower engine on it.
Yeah.
Like the thing just went
wild. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was nuts.
Yeah.
And like it was pretty cool. But day one of learning the prone, took the boat out and towed into swells out the back of Bondi and shit.
Yeah, right.
29th of June 2019, day one, got up and file surfing a swell.
Yep.
And then this is me paddling waves. This is 15th of July, and I'm learning how to like ride a swell paddling.
Sick.
And then this is August, and I'm towing with.
And at this stage, were you onto Axis gear?
No.
No, this is still using MFC.
And this is 28th of September 2019. Yep. In my boat, towing between the heads.
Yep. You're whipping into a downwind bump.
Yeah, on the. This is day one of downwinding.
How crazy where it's come from. Hey.
But like I could already pump, so I know you ride swells for a KSO through the heads.
Sick.
But then it took me like a year and a half from there, like onwards to, like I couldn't do this up. I was so bad. I could not paddle up.
Yeah.
It took me at least 6 months or more.
But to be fair, what was the sup board you were learning on? Was it over 6 foot?
It was 5'11" by 29 by 90.
By 90, yeah. See, it's literally a disc.
It was so hectic.
Yeah.
It was.
So
fun.
you wonder why it's hard to learn. It's because you're using something that's literally
not usable.
Not usable, yeah. Like people, even you'd probably struggle to paddle up now, right? Like,
I reckon I would. I seriously reckon I would.
Yeah. A guy brought a wingboard to one of my coaching lessons I was doing the other day. It was about those similar dimensions, but he had a big foil underneath. I was like, oh, I'll get this up easy.
Nah,
it was really bloody hard. Yeah.
You're still not getting it up.
Yeah.
It's not ideal.
Sick. Cool. So yeah, you eventually cracked the downwind.
Yeah, it took me ages, and I far out. I had the shittest time ever.
One thing I just from another podcast, I did one with Gray, and he was telling me about the crazy runs that you guys would do where you were on sup and he was on wing. Is that around this time? There was the
with the whale.
The whale, yeah, the budgie smugglers with the whale. Yeah, that's hectic. So hectic.
That's with like a GoPro 1 as well.
Yeah, that's
so it was like,
yeah. Why was it with a GoPro 1? Surely you had like way better.
So one of our first runs we did Maroubra to Little Bay to Camp Cove, South Broad. So yeah, Maroubra to Camp Cove.
Yeah,
Gray's wing popped. He's got a 2.7 meter wing, and he's using like this tiny little foil, like not even a 120. It was like a 90.
Yeah,
and he's got like 4Ks to go, and his wing popped, and he held the wing from each side of held onto each side of the wing. So he made it his own like kite and used his arms as the strings, and got himself back up on foil and finished the run, and then went upwind another 2Ks.
He did not tell it like that. He got back up on foil. I just assumed that once that happened,
No. He came down, popped his wing, then got back up.
That's got to be one of the craziest feats.
Like the thing was completely deflated when he got back to the beach. Like,
yeah, it's
fully
wild.
cooked.
That's wild. That's insane. But it sounds like you guys had some sick runs, or like the thing that also blows my mind.
Shit I'm run.
The thing
my
that
nose is like, it looks like a pro. That's my footies with a pro board.
The thing that blows my mind as well is like the runs that you were doing, like they're gnarly runs. They're like in maybe it's because you foil here all the time and you've done big wave surfing or whatever, but like for most, like the average run in the world, they're about, the ones across Sydney are almost as gnarly as they get, I reckon. Like with you got refraction, you got relatively big swell, and often you don't have like heaps of wind, or you have like insane amounts of wind. So I feel like, I don't know what.
All the wrong direction.
Yeah, all the wrong direction. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was like learning? Like, where did you learn? Did you learn in a bay, or did you just send it in the ocean?
It was so scary learning.
Yeah.
Because I was the only one with a SUP.
Yeah.
And only one trying to learn downwind, and so it was horrific. It took me. I spent nearly 4 to 6 months of paddling my SUP on downwinders and not getting up.
Yeah.
And just like, I gave up. I fucking quit, and I was done.
Yeah.
And then I was out a wave called Bay Surf in Cronulla, and this older guy, Mick Branch, was out there, and he's like, "Oh, do you downwind SUP? You got to like, do you downwind? You got to SUP?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'd like to, but I've fucking given up because it's too fucking hard." And he goes, "I downwind. I'll teach you how to do it." I was like, "Dude, you got fully grey hair and like a wiry old dude. I've put so much strength into this shit, and I can't get out of the water." He goes, "Yeah, I can fuck with SUP. Don't worry about it. It's easy. So I'll teach you how to do it." I was like, "You're fucking joking." This old cunt can fucking do it. Fuck, just losing it. And I was like, right. And then day came, and it's windy as fuck. And he goes, "Yeah, come with us, blah blah." Because I could link waves and downwind.
Yeah,
but I couldn't get up. I just could not get up. And so he took me, and so we go, and first run, aced it, did the whole thing, bang, and I beat Mick by like 20 minutes, half an hour or something. And he's like, "You've been before, you can downwind, you can downwind." And I was like, "No, that was my first ever time, mate. That's the first time I've been up and paddled myself up." And he's like, "Bullshit." And like, we went again. There's a guy, Tim Owers or Wires or something, was with us, and he beat me on the first run. And he's like, and he'd done like M2M and stuff. The second one, I beat him, and I was just like, yeah, I'm fucking can't let you can do this shit. Yeah, man. And Mick was just like, oh my God, you beat, what the fuck? How the fuck? I've been doing this for years and you smoked me. I was just like, I don't know. And I just messaged James. I was like, dude, I can downwind. I can do it. And he's like,
this is James Casey.
Yeah.
And
he's like, yep, tomorrow, meet me at Manly. We're doing Manly to Palmy. It's going to be like 15 foot and swell and like howling onshore and like it's going to be fucked up. And I was like, sick, let's go. When there, I'm using a 210 uni fucking hyper on a 511 sup. I paddled up 49 times. My longest ride over the whole run was 2Ks.
Yeah.
And 49 paddle ups over like 30Ks.
Yeah, Jesus.
And I came in at Whale Beach and it was like 6 to 8 foot of whaley and I got so hammered and I paddled for so long and it was the most fucked up experience of my life. And I was like, I am not ready for the ocean.
Yeah.
Shit. And so it was like, I'd only go when it was like 25 knots plus in the ocean.
Yeah.
And so it took a while because I had to go on my own because there's no one to go with.
Yeah. Well, it's like James you could go with, I guess, but he was doing
in Northern Beaches.
Yeah, in the Northern Beaches. So
and he's winning Molokai.
Yeah.
And I'm just a kook.
Yeah.
I'm learning how to do it. So
yeah, that's wild. So who did you eventually link up with someone? Like, was Gray the person who you started really going with? Like,
no, there was a few other people around here who I finally convinced to start doing it. A guy called Massimo Belgiano Mim, who started going with us, and Gray would come, but Gray's got other projects going on. He's like an Olympic athlete. He's doing great.
Yeah.
It's not the same thing. It's like he can dedicate a certain amount of time to foiling, but it's his real priority is being Olympic athlete, training, whatnot. So
yeah, for sure.
So it's like there's not a whole lot of time he can dedicate to it. But yeah, I do. Like Kui, it took me a year to convince Kui to do it.
Yeah.
So
the crazy thing to me is like you didn't at any point go and learn like in the bays.
Well, I started in the bay.
Oh, you started in the bay.
Well,
okay,
I did 2 runs one day in the bay.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then
you're like, nah, I'm over it.
I'm done it. I know what downwinding is. I'm good at this. I'm fucking done.
Yeah. Yeah, sick. Okay, that makes sense. And then Kui eventually, you got Kui into it, and now you got a bit more of a crew here that you.
Oh, we got a mad crew here.
Yeah.
Like I'm now working as a carpenter, and me and another guy I semi-employ him, but not really. Like we just work together. Jackson Harrigan, he's a foiler.
Yeah.
I definitely tailored this situation to my own needs. So if it's windy, we'll go foiling. Go downwinding.
Yeah, wicked.
Instead of working, I'm like, yeah, we're going work. We're not working this game.
Unfortunately, our camera for recording this episode died just here. So thanks for listening to this episode of The Foil Project. See you next week when we'll be back with another episode of the Australian tour. Still based in Sydney. And you'll find out who the guest is next week. Cheers.